Hello, this is Founder Leroon of FGC Fantasy Grounds College. I am going to do a completely random setup homebrew of the D&D 5th edition rule set for Fantasy Grounds. So as you can see, I've already started the application. And pretty much bare bones. I have nothing in the library, just the decal. I've kind of set up the desktop a little bit. I'm going to load some material so that I have some stuff to work with. Now, if you want to import your own material or whatever, that's an option as well. I think what I'm going to do is start off with some basic books. So I'm going to click Modules. And I'm going to do some Waterdeep based stuff. So I definitely want to look for some Waterdeep stuff. Definitely want that. I'm going to use some of Frog God's books, like the Creature Codex, Tome of Beasts. Some really good product. Now that should give me quite a few creatures to work with. You definitely want the Dungeon Master's Guide. Now I don't know why I have that shared. There we go. And just in case I want to go to the Undermountain, I'm loading up the Mad Mage. Now here's some of Vex's material that he made. Dungeon of the Mad Mage, Expanded Dungeons, and Expanded Dungeons Level 2. So I might end up using some of that. So let me check out Vex's stuff. I haven't seen this stuff yet. And last but not least, I want to check out Chris from Game Tile Warehouse, or Map Hatter. I want to check out his meanders for the sewers. I know he has some in the Deadlights, I believe, and possibly the Faillands. I think that would be maybe the Undervaults. The Rise Falls. I'll check that out too. Alright. Now normally I wouldn't have this many things loaded, but when you're trying to do something creative and from the scratch, you gotta have some material to work with. And another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to import some new maps that I just got from Chris hot off the presses. These are the nighttime maps for his city Kickstarter. So I'm going to go ahead and import those. So I'm going to go to Maps. Now I'm going to make my own section because this is not in a module format yet. So I'm going to click here, Edit Groups, and I click this plus button. And it always defaults as Group 1. I'm just call it Waterdeep City Maps Night. That way I remember the section. So now I get out of the edit mode. And let's see. Right here is the new section I made. Now I'm going to go to my desktop, which I don't think will show. And I'm going to pull some new maps over. Let's see. There we go. Now all these maps are labeled fairly nicely, so I don't have to do too much to them. There's quite a few here. There's like 30 maps, just from one Kickstarter. So I'm gonna drag them from my folder straight into this images and maps area. And I also already know their size for Fantasy Grounds, so I don't have to worry about that. Okay, so there's all the maps. And again, these are from Chris's Kickstarter he just recently completed. So let's take a look at this. So we're going to set this in Waterdeep. So I kind of want an area to put this adventure encounter. But before I do that, I want to figure out what type of encounter it is. Is it near the water? Is it in the middle of the city? So I'm going to go to the notice boards, which is just a quest starter. And I'm going to go to the story tab, I believe. And looks like there's a bunch of different notice boards for different levels of adventures and for different parts of the city. So, with that in mind, I'll check out the images and maps. Okay, so these are just images that are tied into the actual plots in the stories. So here's the image board. So this might be handy to present this to your players. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different adventures. Let's see. Searching Prospectors, The Dredge, Below the Nave Floor, Curse of the Black Bell, Retrieve Cargo. So those all sound kind of interesting. Let's see what Vex has here. So I'm looking at his maps. I'm going to the images. And I'm going to check out the Undertaker storage area and the Mad Druid's Grove. Oh yeah, that's a pretty good size. Let's check out the storage area. Yep, it's a pretty good sized map. So those might come in handy. There's also a jade statue, it's kind of cool. Huh, might use that. So I'm gonna go here and check these out. This is the undervaults. Not really gonna use those, although there's some pretty cool dungeon looking stuff in here. Go to the Deadlights. This has, oh yeah, this is like a necromancer's lair and some tunnels, spider forest, and a crypt. That's might be something I'd use somewhere else. Let's see, what else do we have? The Rise Falls. Oh yeah, this is forests and jungles and mountains and stuff like that. Yeah, it's the undervault. Let's check out his actual city maps. I like it already. Okay, so I already have something in mind just by looking at this photo, or this map. It's beautiful. So let's see. Well, looks like I want to go ahead and name this. So perhaps this is a section in the city where perhaps there's a small creek or something running through, or it could even be a sewer. That may not work. Let's try this one. This is outside of a city, it looks like, maybe some snow. There again is outside. Outside. Maybe this is the entryway to one of the gates. Wow, what's this? Yeah, I like this. This sets up a really nice nighttime encounter. I could see this going over really well. So I might use this one. What's that, number 5? Number 6. A little different. Different lighting. Different stuff. Reflections are different. Cool. I actually like this one better. Let's go with number 8. Oh yeah, perfect. Okay. I'll just use this. So, what I'll propose here is that the adventurers are leaving an establishment, whether it be an inn or a tavern, or maybe they were visiting someone in town. So I'm going to call this, some sort of street name, and I'm going to look on the Waterdeep map to see if there's anything that kind of looks like this. So I'm going to go to maps, and here's some city maps. Ah, sewers. Cool. It's a sewer map. Here's the campaign map. Pretty cool. I'm gonna resize it. There we go. Let's see. What is this? So here's a little area here. Kind of like this. Street of Tusks. Wagon Way is up here, which would probably be up here. And then down here would be the Spendthrift Alley. So that might work. Let's see what else we got. I kind of like that. Let's see. Aha, right here. Iron Post Street. That might do it. Here's the main street out here. So what I'm proposing is that this map will link to this main map. Right here. So I'll drop this in the hotkeys. And I'll also drop this down there. Okay. So, this is Iron Post and Burnt Wagon Way. Just call it like Iron Post Alleyway. So even though it's really not an alleyway, it's still pretty cool. It might be. And it's close to the cemetery, which makes it even cooler. Okay, so they left somewhere, and I'll find out where somewhere was later. But this thing here is now going to be the title, instead of just the city meander map name. And I'm going to bookmark this down below. There. Okay. So now I have 2 spots that I'd like to check out. Let's see. Now that I have that, I'm going to start looking at some tables and some monsters. I want some were creatures. I think it'd be cool to have some were rats. And they probably come up from right here, the sewer entrance. So this is kind of cool. So I'm going to go to the encounters. And I'm going to go to random. And I'm going to make my own random encounter. So I'm going to make my own section. It's kind of wordy, but custom random encounters, Waterdeep. Okay. Now I'm going to find an NPC. So let's see. Okay, so we have all kinds of were creatures. So here's the were rats. This is the were rat token that they have for just for Waterdeep. That's got 33 hit points. Let's look at the other one, the generic one. Yeah, it's basically the same one. There's the wereboar. Alright, I like were rats. So we'll use this as a model. So I'm going to drag this over. Actually, this can be edited, but I'm going to drag it over and make a copy of it. Before I do that though, I'm going to edit this list, click the plus button, and add my own encounters. Or this will be a custom NPC based off a model. Okay, so Waterdeep custom NPCs. Okay. There we go. Okay. So I made a copy of it. So now I'm going to customize this. So I can unlock it. And I could put Rodent Man or something like that. put rodent humanoid. So that's his non-ID name. So unless they've come across were-rats before, they don't necessarily know what they are. His name is Sevlin Snibbles. He's kind of a roguish kind of guy. And a 12 AC seems a little bit low. Let me see what he has. Dexterity of +2. I'm going to give him leather. So that gives him a 14. I give him a few more hit points. $37. Perception, stealth. I think I'm going to give him... He's got to be a good liar. So... some sort of charisma-based thing, but his charisma is super low. So I might just bring this up to like 10. Actually, I give him an 11 charisma. So he has a +4 persuasion. Let's see, he has dark vision and rat form only. Passive perception is 12. That's based off his wisdom and probably his class and whatnot. Challenge rating of 2. He can speak common, but can't do anything in rat form. Yep, so he can polymorph. He has advantage on perception checks that rely on smell. Were-rat makes 2 attacks, only one of which can bite. He has a melee weapon, which is the bite, and then a short blade when he's in human form, and it has hand crossbow. Pretty cool. Alright, I like it. Now this token is not something I would generally like to use, so let me see if I can find something else. So I'm going to open up the token modules. See if I can find any were creatures. Things that go bump in the night. There's some werewolves. Huh. Venturing animals. Might load that. Animal tokens. Animals. Let's try changelings. No. Hybrids. That might be the ticket. Yeah, so here's some more werewolves. I don't see were-rats though. Tried lycanthropes, that didn't work. Let's see. gonna go through this massive list. Let's see. There's deities and devils, demon cults, desert encounters, shadow punk, that's kind of cool. Chaotic creatures, heroic characters. Could be here all night looking for these things. Let's see. Yeah, if this was a quick one-shot, I would not be doing all this. I would just go with the standard token. But I have time to be picky, so... There's some monster pogs. Yeah. Where at? There we go. There's a ticket. Now the monster tokens and the pogs come with Fantasy Grounds. So that was the savior. So I'm going to drag this up to there. And there's our were-rat. Cool. Alright. So I'm going to bring up the encounter area. So Sevlin Snivels is kind of like the leader of this gang of like 4 or 5 ratlings or rodent people or werefolk. So what I'm going to do is make him like a boss. So I'm going to make a regular encounter with just him. Custom encounter. Okay. There we go. Alright. Gonna call it Rat Attack. So I'm gonna make Sevlin Snivels the boss. Yeah, let's see. Okay. Good enough. So I don't need all this data. I just want the were creature stuff. The curse information. And the were-rat. So that kind of narrows down the amount of information on there. Okay. So there's Sevlin Snivels. So I'm going to drag it right to here. Okay, so this is the encounter for this particular NPC. However, he's going to have some lackeys. So I'm going to go to random. And again, here's my custom section. So I'm going to say Sevlin's lackeys. Actually, Sevlin's pack, the rat pack. Alright, so that's that. Okay, So I'm just going to grab some other were-rats. Here we go. Were-rat. So I'm going to leave the token the same for them. Okay, so Sevlin's pack. So here's Sevlin. I had to delete that for a moment. So I'm going to add some data here. So this would be in case they have a combat or encounter. So right now it is set as, I'm going to write 1d4, or excuse me, I'm going to go number of party members -1. So $PC -1. So regardless of how many characters are in the party, this encounter will somewhat scale itself. And I might put -2 because I have to count snivels. So that's that. Okay, so I'm going to link this in here. Now I can put Sevlin back. So block this, put this back in here. Okay, so this is the encounter. So what'll happen is this encounter will get pinned here. So when the party members get close to the sewer, they'll pop out of here and strike or sneak up on them or something like that. I'm going to add a grid now. So I'm going to click on layers, click on set grid. I'm going to zoom in a little. I think 50 is about right. Yep. Okay. So you can see there's some back porches back here. There's some light, looks like somebody's home. And then you got these dark streets and the cobblestone roads. So, yeah, they look pretty good against the background. That's that. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to load up the pre-gens. So this is something you can do to kind of test your encounters. So I'm loading up the FGC pre-gens. These guys are all 3rd level. Here's the pre-gens. So I'm gonna load up Lord Gallimar, Laren, the ranger, Doric, Zamas, Namita, Shayra, and Zayla. That's a pretty good sized party. So now I open up the combat tracker. And I'm going to add these characters. But see, they don't have any tokens yet. So I'm going to give Dorig his. Leyron's going to get one. Lord Gallimar. Namita. Shayra. She's a storm sorceress. Zamas. He's a big barbarian. And Zayla Truson. She's a bard. There we go. So there's all the party members. So I'm going to add them to the combat tracker first, always. That is a full party. There's 7 of them. So I'm going to put them on this combat tracker. And then I'm going to put them on the party sheet. So if this were a campaign, there we go. So there's all 7 of them. It's a little much, but okay. So now that they're on this party sheet, I can take advantage of the encounter I created. So if I click here, I can place Seven Snivels here ahead of time. So he's just going to camp out until the party members come, and he's actually under this this cover here, the sewer cover. So now when I click and close that, it'll get rid of Snivels because he's not there yet, or he's not in the encounter yet. Now I'm going to bring the whole party members over here. So Namita usually kind of goes in front. Dorig's in the back. Gallimar's near the front. Zamas doesn't go too far from her. Shayra stays behind the muscle. Laren goes up front. Zayla sometimes is up front to negotiate. Okay. So they're all there. Now I'm going to look at the party sheet. So all together, their perception, they have a passive perception, roughly about 13 on all of them. So when this encounter shows up, I'm going to put him in the combat tracker. He's still hidden, but he's here. So now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at his stat block, and he has stealth of +4. So I'm going to roll that before the party members get through here. Maybe they pass the area, who knows. So I'm going to roll in the dice tower. And that's a 7, so that would not have defeated their passive perception. But had he passed, or they had failed to notice, he would have probably got surprised. In this case, no surprise. He pops out of the sewers. There they are. There he is. And he's like, crap. So he's going to call his buddies. So now, when I go to a sheet, I have this random encounter. So it's the number of PCs minus 2, and these are all the standard where routes. So I click generate. Now I have 7 NPCs. So there shouldn't be any more than 5. There we go. 5. So now these things will go into the combat tracker. There we go. And now they can be used as part of this encounter. So there was no surprise. So I'm going to roll initiative. So roll initiative for NPCs. They got their initiative now. And I'm going to roll for the characters. There we go. So round 1. Zayla goes first. So she steps forward. I'm going to lock the token by right-clicking on her. Any token. So now I know she's moved 5 feet. I'm going to open up her character sheet. She sees this guy pop out of the sewers. So immediately she starts trading insults with this person or this individual. She says, "Oh, you filthy beast, you smell of cheese and yeast. If you were to come and hide again, we will kill you, my friend." And so she does some corny little riddle type thing. So she does cutting words. So it's a reaction to something. She's not cutting words, it's she's got Jack of all trades. Fey ancestry. Vicious mockery is what I meant. So she casts vicious mockery on this guy. Of course he saves. Yeah. So that didn't work. So that was her turn. Zamas comes forward. He moves in for the attack. He doesn't say a whole lot, but just growls. Takes his two-handed battle axe. Two-handedly, I should say. He swings and he misses. So the rodent Sivlin Snivels, he ducked. Now it's Leyren's turn. So Leyren has his bow out. He tells Zayla to duck. But instead, he moves forward 5 feet to improve the angle. And he takes a short-range shot at the rodent humanoid. So, as he does, he takes a shot. With his +1 longbow. It's a beautiful elven bow. And he misses. Wow. Really bad rolls. Okay. So that's his turn. I think he's going to move the rest of his movement up to here. Alright. Shayra. So Shayra steps back over here. She assesses the battlefield. I think she's going to cast Mage Armor. So she casts Mage Armor on herself. So she's preparing for battle. Now these were-rats haven't showed up yet. So I'm going to bring them up one at a time. Because they have to come out of the sewer. So one of them squeezes out. And he pops up here. And he is now visible. The rest of them are still in the sewers. So, on his turn, he pops out, he squeezes through, moves over to the wall so that he's not surrounded all the way. And he begins to hiss and become angry and agitated. He's in humanoid form. So he rushes up towards Laren. And he takes a attack with a short blade. He lands a vicious stab to his hip. And Laren takes some really bad damages, hurting him really bad. And then he goes in for a bite. And luckily he missed. So Laren moved his face back as the were-rat kind of hissed at him and went in for a bite. So they get a multi-attack. You can make 2 attacks and only one of which can be a bite. So he did a sword swing and then a bite. Okay, this were-rat number 2 pops out. So he starts there. And then he ends up moving this way. And he attacks Zamas. He's now visible. And he does a multi-attack. But instead of biting, he does 2 melee attacks. So that one missed. So Zamas was able to bring his axe around. And then he does another one. We almost got him that time, but Zamas is pretty good with that axe, deflecting. So now were-rat number 3 comes out. He starts here. And he is visible. He moves forward. And he attacks Gallimar. That will hit. So his little blade finds a hole in his defenses and he kind of hits him in his abdomen. He strikes again but misses. Gallimar is able to get a shield up in time. So that's his attack. So number 4 comes out of the sewer. And he ends up going this way. Takes out his hand crossbow, which is down here, now visible. And takes a shot at Zayla. He missed. And he gets one more shot. Missed again. So Zayla kind of dances around, gets away from that shot. We're at number 5. Yeah, it comes out here. Now visible. Runs this way. And attacks the Mita. So he's going to bite her, or try to bite her first. So his teeth come clacking down and bite her arm as she tries to retract it away. And does 4 points of damage. And she succeeds against a curse effect. So thank God she didn't get the were-rat disease. She is pissed. Doric doesn't like what's going on here. So he reaches into his bag of tricks. And I think, for the sake of this battle, he's going to cast Bless. So, first I'm going to put the effect on him. And I'm going to drag the Bless effect to the party. So he's going to bless the 3 that are up front here. So all of them now have the Bless effect. He is going to move up here. And he has a spiritual weapon. So he's going to cast that. So first level and second level. So I'm going to draw the little hammer. So the spiritual hammer's here. So he casts here up to 60 feet. He can move it up to 20 per turn. And now he's going to take an attack. And the hammer hit, believe it or not. Put the effect on him so I know that he's got this hammer active. And the rat is wounded. So that was a good round for him. Namita, she's very angry. She takes out her short blade and she furiously attacks. She's a skirmisher. Let's see what that does. So it's a reaction. Starting at 3rd level, you're difficult to pin down during a fight. You can move up to half your speed as a reaction when an enemy ends its turn 5 feet from you. This movement does not provoke attack of opportunity. So she's going to back up here. She's pulling out her crossbow. She drops it on the rat. And she succeeds. She had the Bless effect on her. Crossbow pierces the rat right in the throat and did some damage, because they have resistance, so that kind of sucks, but that's the breaks. So that's her turn. So Gallimar is not going to play around. He has his long blade. He's going to use his Divine Smite. So, if he hits, he'll use the Divine Smite. And he's using just one-handed. And he scores a hit, which is really cool. And I'm going to use this Divine Smite. And he gets extra radiant damage. +1 long blade. Ooh. He nearly cut him all the way through. So anyhow, this is just a really quick scenario and something you can whip together in a fairly short amount of time. This is Founder Leyrun from FG College. I wanted to thank Chris from Game Tile Warehouse for providing these beautiful maps. Also, the tokens were made by Bernardo Hasselman, also known as Sword Enchanter. And also I'd like to thank Smiteworks, Woods of the Coast, Rob2E for his coding effects, and everybody else out there in Twitch land or on the social media or even on YouTube. Again, have a good evening, take care, and I hope that helps illustrate what you can do with Fantasy Grounds and create your own on-the-spot counter and set it up fairly quickly. Goodbye.